Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. News and views used on the news, another message to preach and teach. And y'all, please pay close attention to this. And brothers, there has been many of brothers that's been watching the videos, but y'all are forgetting to thumbs up. One of the ways even when I go to y'all's channel, other brothers' channel, and I watch the videos, I thumbs up. All right. When the first thing you do, while you're listening to my voice right now, please press that thumbs up button. And it's kind of important for a lot of videos. But if you notice, I've been doing a lot of videos that is important for the survival of the Afro seed. All right. And brothers, y'all don't know how much we are on our own with this. We can't, as you see, trust the black woman. We do not know which black woman may turn out to not be a black woman, but be a sister, that's down for the community. All right. We are starting to get an understanding that once a black woman chooses evil, she's going to ride or die for that evil that she chooses, even in the face of being an enemy to God himself. All right. She don't care about the destruction of the children so long as she could get the children to worship her. And the sad part is I wish I could say that as an Afro people, this would be the worst of our problems. But it's not. Let me greet everybody real quick. Havorten hardu gudag. Ola oi to the bank. Vasis los bonjour mes amis. Kedu bowen and konnichiwa. Nia nia ma. Sani bonani. Jambo habaragani. Assalamu alaikum and shalom. All right. So let the mind games begin. It's not only the black woman playing mind games with everybody, and she don't understand that she's just a puppet that has been used to destroy everything. And by appealing to her vanity, she really don't care. Now, this is bad for the sisters, and it's not so much bad for the brothers, because if the brothers could wake up and proverbial smell that coffee, we will get an understanding. Now, I'm going to show you some clips. The clips that I'm going to show you, please watch it in its entirety. It's a lot of information. I've already posted the video in its entirety on my Facebook page. All right. The link for these are just going to be clips from this video. The link will be in the description box. Watch it in its entirety after you see this video. All right. But I'm going to say with kind of they tried to point it out. I'm going to say it directly because it's what I do. We've been sold out by every political leader that wants to be a Democrat. We've been sold out for every political leader that wants to be a Democrat that came from the so-called black community. We don't care who they marched with. If they made it out and they're a Democrat, they have threw the entire community under the bus. I'm not saying that the Republicans were any good to us. See, here's the thing. We are aware of what the Republican Party do. But the same people that want to shout them out will give the party that done us the most damage by far. It isn't even close. They will give them a pass out of ignorance and dedication to the people that set up a process to have Afro peoples eliminated from the earth permanently. That's the goal. You think I'm lying? Pay attention to this video. Let me remind you real quick. Y'all, it is important to get the thumbs up so that we beat the bots and we can move the videos up in the queue. All right. Y'all, It's been an abject failure in that on this channel. So, brothers, if you're watching this, and part of it is that I put this at the end of my video and I don't remind people at the beginning. So that failure is also on me. But brothers, if you can, please get those thumbs up. All right. My PayPal me link will be in the description box. Remember to take care of yourself and family first. But if you got some extra, yes, duly, it will be duly appreciated. All right. Now, remember I said everything was about the seed of the good man, and I'm gonna keep putting this up because it's from the FBI. You know, the Democrats, the COINTELPRO, the Democrats. So I'm gonna keep putting this up till y'all understand that every organization that is liberal does they do not mean for our voices to be heard. They do not mean for us to be able to earn a living. They don't even mean for us to exist as a people. All right. This includes Google, YouTube. This includes maybe Facebook. This includes the government. All right. So this is what we're looking at. But in the government, it includes mainly the Democrats. All right. So pay attention to this. For those of you that are new, this is the goals of the United States government. And it is currently the goal of the United States government. They're just not as, well, boisterous as they were back in the 70s. Their goal, prevent the coalition of militant black nationalist groups. That's why you see people like me and other people that's trying to get you to wake up. That's why Google hides and buries our thing. I noticed that they're hiding my channel again. All right, at one point I had absolutely 0 seconds of views. 0 seconds of views. How do you have 0 seconds of views on something that contains a couple of hundred videos on a day where you put up new videos? How do you get 0 seconds? They're changing their algorithm to hide the voices of the Afro people. I told you, racism is alive and well, but y'all are looking at the Trump organization when it's not him. It's like it's organizations like the people that bought YouTube. All right. So what I do, I keep calling them out because it is what it is. And they do it in a way that Caucasian people do things. They always give you an ambiguous answer so that they can remain unrighteous. Because for them, they create laws to say for you to follow, but not for themselves to follow. Because they understand they could change the laws whenever they feel like it. All right. Number 2, prevent the rise of a messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement. Why did they use messiah? Because they always understood that it's about the Afro male seed. All you women thinking your womb is important. It is so not important that they understand that y'all will murder us by the millions in your womb. That's how unimportant the black woman's womb is. That the Caucasian people understood, and that's what this video is going to be primarily about, that if they could get inside the black woman's head, she will do their work for them and eliminate us in greater numbers than everything else that has eliminated black people in the United States since 1973 and almost doubled by herself in her womb. So they know it's about the seed. They know that the black woman's womb is not worth anything because they've shown that to be true. They've shown themselves not to care about family, community, a good man, or the child. Prevent the militant black nationalist groups and leaders from gaining respectability by discrediting them to the community, like what they did to Cosby, what they're trying to do to Michael Jackson. Anybody that we think highly of, they try to discredit us to the community, right? So really, you got to just say, F you, Caucasian people. We will determine who needs to be discredited or not. We, our community. We will determine who's the greatest rapper. We're not going to let your white people write a magazine and say Eminem is the greatest rapper ever, the king of rap, because he's not really. But Caucasians wouldn't know that because they don't listen to a lot of rap. They only listen to, well, their guy and their favorites. But they have no idea. They listen to who's popular. And who makes the person popular? Oh, the record industry that owns everything. And who's running that? Oh, Caucasian people. So their system of government don't work. It's been a lie. Their justice system don't work. It's been a lie. Everything the founding fathers have come up with has been a lie. And when you look at the state that we're in, it shows you that they didn't create nothing but garbage. The Constitution, garbage. How you know? Because people don't follow it. So it don't mean nothing to nobody. Anything that don't mean anything is garbage. That's why we think that the black woman think that the Afro community and a good man is garbage, even a child, because they don't mean nothing to her. If it can't get her nails and hair done and get her some status and attention, you know, negative attention, not loving attention, negative attention, then, you know, it is what it is. All right, and what's the fourth one? Should be to prevent the long-range growth of militant black nationalist organization, especially among the youth. So what did they do? They had the single mothers raise the children so that nobody would teach them music anymore. So you're not going to have any more Jackson 5. You're not going to have the Ohio Players. You're not going to have any more Princes. You're not going to have any more of that coming up. Because it'll be the black woman teaching them. She's going to music school and stuff, but she's not going to teach them sons how to navigate. And primarily, if she has a daughter and a son, she'll teach the daughter and leave the son hanging. Whereas the men taught the whole family. They treated the men like men, but they treated the girls like girls. All right? Y'all need to understand this. So I want you to pay attention to Messy Jackson. All right. And how messy Jackson really was. And I pulled out 2 clips so that you could understand. They are always able to find people that will betray us. But instead of us turn around and calling them a Benedict Arnold and casting them out the way the Caucasians would do, we elevate them to like God status and worship and adore them. Because we don't pay attention to the sellout. Or if we do, we go along with our own destruction because this guy is the one to tell us that it's okay. Even when he understands that it's not okay and have said it wasn't okay publicly. What am I talking about? Clip 1, pay attention. All right. And y'all need to take y'all seats for this. This is what we used to say about birth control. All right. This is what Jesse Jackson used to say. Let's see his arc as he decided to get into politics.
Groups of today existed. But one of the problems with the civil rights movement was that there was far too many men and women who were willing to sell out the community. And a lot of powerful, influential African Americans knew that they had to be willing to turn and look the other way in order to advance their own personal political agendas.
In 1972, those members of the Congressional Black Caucus, such as Charles Diggs, did not trust the abortion industry or those who were espousing population control or family health, and they were suspicious of them. But when the money began to flow, just as it was with Jesse Jackson, when he found out that indeed he could get funding and monies to run for presidents from these people, he flip-flopped in his position, because he once said abortion is black genocide. What happens to a mind of a person in the moral fabric of a nation that can abort a baby without a pang of conscience? Where will we be 20 years from today? But when Reverend Jesse Jackson realized he needed money to run for president, all of a sudden the most important civil rights issue is a woman's right to choose.
In 1975, Jesse Jackson called for the ban of abortion through a constitutional amendment. And in an interview in Jet magazine, he referred to abortion as genocide. But Jesse Jackson, on the other hand, wanted to become president. And the Democratic Party at that time had sold out completely to Planned Parenthood and the eugenics crowd. And Jesse Jackson went along to get along. And don't ever think that he was the only one. The unfortunate thing we face, whether we're talking about individuals or organizations, there's never been a shortage of black leaders who are willing to sell us down the river if it's enough money and political power in it for them.
I've been grappling with the fact that the NAACP is in bed with the very organization that has brought black genocide to our community. Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King, has tried on at least 3 occasions to bring to this organization's attention the black genocidal plot of people like Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood to exterminate the black community. And the stonewalling has been astounding. Alveda King literally has gone to the street along with myself to say to the NAACP, please deal with this issue of black genocide. The NAACP has responded by hiding and trying to prevent their convention goers to hear about black genocide. They've even gone to the extent of using buses to block our demonstration about black genocide in front of Cobo Hall where their convention was going on. They have literally put black paper across their windows so that the convention goers at the NAACP convention could not see the demonstration going outside that included Alveda King. There is definitely a conspiratorial plot being hatched and has been hatched by the NAACP to keep from their people the fact that they are co-conspirators in the genocide of their own people.
When you look at the number of African Americans who portrayed us over the years, it's not always clear whether they are uninformed or just out and out traitors. When we see pro-choice politicians defending abortion on television, do they really understand the implications of abortion and that it is certainly used for black genocide?
Reverend Benjamin Hooks, one of the former presidents of the NAACP, once personally told me that the NAACP would not bring this subject to the floor because they believed it would tear up the NAACP. Even the media has conspired with the NAACP to keep this issue from the attention of the black community and the public at large. I have seen the news media literally hide their trucks so that they would not be in a position to have to cover the demonstrations in front of Cobo Hall, only to bring them out after the demonstrators had left. This is an outrage that the black community is having the life of its babies destroyed, and the NAACP and the media are knowingly conspiring to keep this information from the public. This is an outrage, and it should be dealt with by every fair-minded American.
The civil rights elite has forgotten the lives of unborn black children and has joined those who choose to kill them. Unbelievable! They have forgotten that in the past, racists snatched black babies from their mother's arms and sold them into slavery. Today they snatch them from their mother's womb and throw them in the garbage. Ishmael Hernandez, Executive Director, African and Caribbean American Center, 2003.
When we look at this issue of civil rights leaders who sell out, even when they clearly know that birth control and abortion are being used for black genocide, we need to understand that by the 1960s, population control, especially black population control, had become almost a religion for America's white power structure. And from the start, they made it clear that if you crossed them, or if you challenged their agenda, they would chop you off at the knees. And that remains true to this day. Whether you're talking about the liberal social engineers who control the Democratic Party, or the wealthy elitists who control the Republican Party, or the media, or the academic community, These people have created a kind of family planning cartel that does not tolerate dissent. And they have always been especially ruthless about this when it comes to African Americans. A perfect example of this was seen in the case of Samuel Yet. Mr. Yet was an award-winning journalist who had earned a master's degree from Indiana University, was a U.S. Air Force veteran of the Korean War, and served as special assistant for civil rights to the director of the U.S. Office of Economic Opportunity. He was also a professor of journalism at Howard University and a columnist for several magazines and newspapers. In 1968, Yet had become the first African-American reporter hired by Newsweek magazine, and he quickly became their Washington, D.C. bureau correspondent. But then 3 years later, he wrote a book that exposed high-level plans within the United States to use birth control and abortion as instruments of black genocide. Then immediately after his book was released to the public, Yet was called into his supervisor's office and fired. At that meeting, he was informed that his dismissal had been orchestrated by the Nixon White House. The next year, Yet told the New York Times that pressure had been put on Newsweek to get him out of Washington. Then later, despite the fact that his book was selling well, had received at least 2 national awards.
They stopped him cold. All right. So the link is in the description box. The book is called The Choice. All right. The Choice wasn't about choice. What they did was they appealed to these black women's vanity and desire to just run amok and do wickedness. And without consciousness, these women have took 22 million, over 22 million to 50 million of Afro lives, more than everything else that's killed us. Think about that for a minute. From Jesse Jackson to Gladys Knight, if we start to stand up for ourselves in the public, they will always find somebody that they gave a lot of money to come out and be against the person that's trying to stand up for our rights and dignity. Some of the things we have to do on our own. And you got to wonder, what woman, what sister is going to stand with the righteous men that's trying to wake everybody up? Because as soon as the black women who think that they can live without a man get rid of us, they will understand that they will be wiped out. 1, because they will be seen as dangerous. 2, they will be dangerous and weak. And 3, heartless. Anybody that can have the good of their community go away, not care about them, they understand that that is not a person that you have around. Now, they're a tool right now to do the wickedness, but they won't want them after that. And for politics, everybody in politics that's black, that is in this political stuff, especially that's on the Democrats, have sold us out. Cummings, all of them. If you look at a black politician, they have sold us out on the Democratic Party, in the Democratic Party. All right. The Republican platform is not necessarily for that. So, you know, you got to look at those politicians side-eye, at least side-eye. But no, definitely for sure, if they're a Democratic black politician, they sold us out to get there. And by sold us out, they don't care if the Caucasians do eliminate us so that they can have a good time while they're here on this earth. Not thinking they're going to have to pay that cost when they leave here.
Originally created with the financial backing of John Rockefeller, and its current president is an African American who was once appointed to the Washington, D.C. City Council by Richard Nixon. In the early 1990s, the organization changed its name and is today known as the Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice.
In 1969, a meeting of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, also known as UNESCO, proposed that an American Population Commission be created with a, quote, large budget for propaganda, unquote. 4 months later, Republican President Richard Nixon signed legislation establishing the Commission on Population Growth and the American Future. The bill authorizing this new initiative had been passed with overwhelming support from congressional Democrats and was chaired by John Rockefeller. The executive director of the project was to be Dr. Charles F. Westall, who was also a member of both the American Eugenics Society and Planned Parenthood's National Advisory Council.
Another member of this new commission was Dr. Joseph Beasley. In the 1960s, Beasley oversaw an aggressive eugenics program that concentrated on black neighborhoods in New Orleans with the stated intention of lowering welfare costs. This project would eventually be described by Planned Parenthood President Alan Guttmacher as the #1 success story in the history of American birth control movement. It also led to Beasley being elected chairman of the board of Planned Parenthood in 1970. Then in 1975, Beasley was sent to federal prison for conspiring to defraud the U.S. government of $778,000 that had been allocated for the project. In court, a local black civil rights activist named Sherman Copeland testified that he took payoffs from
a local black civil rights leader. See how easy it is to get first the black women to sell us out, and then all you need is a few men and women to do the rest of the damage. And all to squash the righteous. All right? We don't have anyone we could trust in our community except one another. The real brothers and the real sisters. Because you got a lot of black women that ain't real. And these would be the same, like they said, these would be the same women that would sell us out in the garden. But then too, look at all these politicians. All this a thirst for greed, money, and what they think is power. But they don't have power and they're not leaders. Period. So, y'all tell me what y'all think in the description box, right? Y'all, these are some deep messages. And Google, YouTube, the media, everybody is doing everything in their power to keep this stuff secret. The NAACP, all these black organizations understand this. They've been trying to wipe out what people would say is the Messiah seed. That means the seed that comes from the Afro-Black American male for the longest. The problem is, hopefully this is waking some of us up and they don't know which person it would come from, whether it be here or in the other parts of America, you know, like Canada, Brazil, South America, Central America. Pay attention and thumbs up, everybody. With that said, I'm out. Don't fall for the cracker food.